Hey there, thanks for watching. I'm Christiana and this channel is a well-behaved wallet where my mission is to love the life I have while building a life of my dreams. So around the last few weeks of the year is when people typically start planning for the next year. But I just want to say that this idea of planning and a new start and sort of a retrospection, introspection, isn't limited to the end of the year. You can do this at any point. I personally love the idea of a fresh start in a new year and kind of looking forward to that. I'm a planner and I love to plan. So this is kind of my favorite time of the year to start planning. However, I also want to say that if you're someone that's kind of gotten a little bit disillusioned with the idea of planning, then this may be the video for you. So I have always loved writing things down and planning things out. I've also noticed, like since I was a kid, I've also noticed that things very rarely go according to plan. I would say on a day-to-day level, you have control over sort of what you do with your day and where you're putting your focus, and that is essential to have a written plan to direct your day. But the tendency is when you're sort of doing this planning and things don't go according to plan, at least for me, I tend to get really frustrated and discouraged. And I feel like either it's never going to happen or things are taking too long. And that's something that I really had to look inside myself and figure out, like, all right, what's going on here? So I had gotten a little disillusioned with planning, and especially yearly planning, because I feel like it's really tough to plan out for the year, especially those bigger goals. Because, and this is something that I've heard in some of my reading, is that it's easy to overestimate what you can do in 1 year, meaning people meaning me as well, try to cram too much into 1 year, but you underestimate what you can do in 2 to 3 years, meaning you don't think big enough over the long haul. So that's something that I for sure have noticed for myself. So with this idea of planning, I just kind of wanted to give that sort of introduction to say I'm trying to look at my planning a little bit differently this year. So I use a plum paper planner, which I absolutely adore. And I use the format. I actually switched to a new format for this upcoming year, but I have notes on one side and a calendar on the other. And this is how I plan my weeks out. But thinking big term, long term, it's been tough for me because, again, I get frustrated that things aren't happening as fast or as well as I would like them to happen. I know that they will happen. I just sometimes get frustrated in the waiting. So for example, my debt-free journey, I had thought that I would be able to do that in a year. Didn't happen. That was way too short. And I'm okay with that. But I kind of let the fact that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish that stop me from trying to accomplish other things that I could. And if I had really sort of stepped back and given myself a little bit more time, I probably could have done it a little bit quicker than I am right now. Different strategy, moving on. This really, what I'm going to be talking about fully is the idea of the one-word strategy. So for the past 7 years, 9 years, for the past 9 years, 6, 7, 8, excuse me, 8 years including 2020. The one-word strategy is using one word to sort of determine the direction of your goals and your direction for the year. So I've been doing this since 2013, and I've written down the words that I've used. And I've kind of moved this from planner to planner. That's why it's in a sticky note. It goes in each year's new planner. So I'll kind of talk through this, and I have done 2 other videos on this topic, and I will link to them either up in the comments or up in the bar, or I'll put them also in the description box. So I've really noticed in looking back over the past 8 years that while the word doesn't necessarily mean very much, looking back, these are all qualities that I wanted to develop, and this is why I am actually not going to be using this strategy going forward. I am not going to be doing the one-word strategy, so 2020 is going to be my last year for that. And I will tell you why. I am using a new strategy, and that is why I am not going to be doing the one word after this upcoming year. totally new strategy. It's kind of, I haven't heard of this anywhere else really in depth. It's kind of funny how I came across it, but I'll explain that in a video to come. So from 2013, these are the words, and I'll just kind of tell you them, and then I'll put them also in the description box in case you miss them. So 2013, the word was acceptance. In 2014, my year was trust. In 2015, my word was hope. 2016, my word was joy. 2017, my word was complete. 2018, my word was rest. And 2019, this year, my word was grow. And those are all good and wonderful things. But if I were to have to look at it, I would say that for me, this isn't really enough. It's a little bit sort of, I want to say high pie in the sky, kind of like nebulous like concepts. And yeah, sure, I could apply like, oh, this happened and that was, you know, in this event I used this word. Sure, I did. Did they really determine the direction of my year? Maybe. Not in any way that I could concretely point to. So that's where I am with the 1 year planning strategy. Well, I think it's wonderful and it's simple and it's good to have things down to a science of that simplicity. I think simplicity is the greatest discipline. I won't be doing this anymore because it's not enough for me. And this is, again, I think it's a wonderful, strategy. And it's something that I fully support, but I'm going to be changing strategies a little bit going forward. So that's kind of my take on the 1 year system, and I will tell you my last word so far that I can see. My word for 2020, reveal, the word is transform. So this year, 2020, I know will be the year of transformation. I'm also going to be transforming my yearly planning going forward. So that is my word for 2020, as well as the words that I've used for the past 7 years before. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.